Hello, my name's Emma Bryson, and the question that I've chosen to answer for my presentation asks, has governmental surveillance gone too far? I chose to answer this question and conduct my research on this topic because this is something that's on the news a lot at the moment, and I've read about Edward Snowden's leaks to the press containing details of mass surveillance programmes. I'd initially thought that this was just relating to America and that the classified information that he leaked was about the NSA storing the phone calls of the American public. So the more I researched into this topic, I realised that this wasn't the case, and that some of the information that Edward Snowden leaked contained details of the GCHQ and other spying organisations, MI5 and MI6, gaining information on the British public. And this instantly gripped my attention because this affects me and the British public as a whole. I decided to focus my research on the UK GCHQ to find out why they're using online surveillance to watch us, to find out if it was to protect us against criminals and terrorists, or if they're just doing it because they can. This topic is very current and is in the news every day at the moment as new revelations are starting to come to light, so for me it was a very compelling issue. It was something that I wanted to look further into. I started my research by reading about Edward Snowden, Bradley Manning, Julian Assange, and reading about WikiLeaks, and then I just started to read online news articles about the leaks that Edward Snowden released to the press. I found out about an online surveillance programme called Tempora, which uses intercepts in fibre optic cables via the internet to gain access to large amounts of the public's personal data online. Apparently it's been going for 18 months now, and the GCHQ can just sift through the public's information and see everything from telephone calls to emails, online history and even Facebook posts. I watched the first public hearing called on this, where head of MI5 Andrew Parker, GCHQ Director Sir Ian Lobban and MI6 Chief Sir John Soares were questioned. Ian Lobban denied that they were involved in any widespread snooping of the public and said that the work they do is proportionate and is certainly legal. I think that with governmental surveillance, it's about getting the balance right between protecting the public and protecting the public's privacy. With much less surveillance, then we would live in a less safe country and we would be at risk of more violence and terrorism threats. But with much more surveillance, the public may feel like their privacy is being violated. I think the fear is that with our data being stored, that it may be used for unforeseeable reasons in the future. We can't always assume that the government is going to be good and is going to use our data for good purposes. I think this causes a lot of frustration and anger in the public because we don't know what the future holds. After conducting my research, although I'm surprised about what a lot of the things that I've read, I'm not yet convinced that the government has gone too far with surveillance, although I do think that they have the potential to. With using software that the US are using called PRISM, which is another type of data surveillance programme, I do think that the UK have the potential to go too far with surveillance, and I do think that in years to come this will be the case. Thank you for listening.